Welcome back to LX News Now. I'm Eric Alvarez here with some iconic and familiar faces. Simone Biles, Naomi Osaka, Michael Phelps. All of them high-profile athletes that have spoken out about mental health. And now we can add Harry Miller to that brave list of athletes. Miller is known as a college football star at Ohio State University, but he just announced that he is medically retiring from the game because of mental health struggles. On social media, he told the world that he was actually recently on the brink of suicide. Now, earlier this week, Miller appeared on the Today Show to talk about the mental health toll many athletes face. Take a listen.
It's just sort of difficult. You've got these young people being thrusted under these bright lights, and as a student athlete, it's, you play a game, it's a hard game, perhaps you made a lot of mistakes, and people send you messages saying, transfer, you suck. Some people get death threats that I know on the team, and I'm trying to text my mom. That's the first thing I see, and then you can't worry about it too much because you've got an exam the next day, and you have that for weeks and then months, and by the end of the semester, and you're like, what is happening right now? And it just breaks my heart. While I was going through my therapy, I was seeing stories of Miss Americas and athletes all over the board, and I just kept thinking, if somebody would just say something, and I'm just really grateful that I was able to have received the care and love and affection that I did so that I could.
It's alarming stuff. So here to talk to us more about sports and mental health is Leigh Richardson, a licensed professional counselor and the founder of the Brain Performance Center. Thanks so much for joining us today, Leigh.
Thanks for having me, Eric.
So I want to start off, if we can, on a hopeful note here, because all of these athletes speaking up, what kind of a message does that send to young people out there who are struggling right now?
Well, I hope it sends the message that it's okay to not be okay. We all go through some times in our life where we experience ups and downs. And I wrote a book, Turn Your Brain On to Get Your Game On, for that reason, to let people know it's okay to not be okay. And I salute him and the message that he sent out from his heart with humbleness and kindness to the world, I hope will open up and will provide hope for a lot of people.
The game of football in particular, at least historically, has coincided with a lot of kind of toxic masculinity, the way that little boys are raised. You don't cry, you play hurt, you don't get sick, you don't get these mental health problems. And given that kind of element in our society, how harmful do you think the chorus of contrarians is out there? People who say things like, hey, you should just toughen up. If you can't handle the pressure, don't play the sport. They're not just on social media. Sometimes they're on sports radio. Sometimes they're behind a desk on TV. So what do you say in response to that?
They're everywhere. Those negative voices are everywhere. And I've been told myself, suck it up, buttercup. Come on, you can do this. That is the wrong dialogue. That is negative dialogue. And I think that we all need to wake up and recognize the importance of mental health. What has kept him from getting help originally was the stigma. It's don't be a coward. I'd rather be dead than be a coward. It's the stigma that we associate with having mental health issues. If you hurt your leg, what's the first thing you do? You go to a doctor. If you wake up and you're so overwhelmed that you can't get out of bed, what do? You have the nastiest conversation with yourself. And if you don't, other people will, because it's that stigma that society puts around mental health. And if that's the one social change that is needed in 2022, it is the change that brain health is the same as physical health.
I think it's something that we're all starting to realize, perhaps too late for some people. Now, in your previous answer, we showed some images up on the screen that really shows us how bad things can get. The goalie for the women's soccer team at Stanford, she recently died of suicide. Katie Meyer, she was actually the hero of the team's 2019 national championship. She stopped 2 penalty kicks in a shootout in the title game. A student athlete attending one of the best schools in the country. Can you just kind of put that into context for it? You don't have to, on the outside looking in, be struggling. You can be at the top of your game and still have these problems.
Absolutely. And the sad thing is that the age of those people that we're looking at, the brain's not fully developed until you're in your mid to late 20s. So that brain has still got a way to go before it's fully developed. And I think that you can be the number one, you can be the best. And what I've learned in my practice, working with all kinds of people, doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter where you went to school, doesn't matter what your job is, you can still suffer from mental health. And one of the main things that puts a brain into a dysregulated state is physical head trauma. And I think all professional athletes have hit their head. They've had some head trauma.
Yeah, another thing that we're learning a lot about in recent years. Real quick, we have about 30 seconds left. I wanted to ask you, what's your message to people out there who feel this kind of immense pressure? Maybe they're not Olympians or pros or NCAA athletes. Maybe they're not even athletes at all. What do you say to them?
Get some help. Remember one thing, it's okay to not be okay, and there are people out there that can help you and will help you. Don't let pride stand in your way. The best thing you can do is be humble and kind to yourself.
Well, that's a very important message. Leigh Richardson of the Brain Performance Center, thanks so much for coming on NBCLX to share it